On June the 24th in Ein Karem, the Franciscan community of the region celebrated the Solemnity of the Nativity of St. John the Baptist. The celebration was presided over by Br Francesco Patton, Custos of the Holy Land. As the precursor of Jesus, John was sent to prepare the coming of the Messiah. With his life, he sought to make more and more room for Christ, the rising sun from on high. John the Baptist does not like to be in the spotlight. He prefers to remain in the background. In fact, speaking of Jesus, he says, "He must increase, I must decrease." And again, "The bride belongs to the bridegroom. The friend of the bridegroom rejoices to hear the bridegroom's voice." With these words, John identifies himself as the friend of the bridegroom, because the bridegroom is Christ. The liturgy of the Word always invites us to contemplate how God calls the prophet to a mission. This mission is also described by Zechariah, John's father, when he proclaims the Benedictus. That canticle, engraved in many languages on the sanctuary walls, is a hymn of gratitude for God's visit to his people.
C'è un compito specifico di Giovanni Battista che è quello.
John the Baptist has a specific task. He helps the people become aware of their separation from God. This applies on a personal level, but also on a collective, communal level.
Direi comunitari collettivi.
This conversion requires stepping out of structures of sin. It calls us to be open to being reconciled with God, surrendering to His grace, capable of transforming our darkness into light.
Noi qui abbiamo un bisogno particolare di riconoscere alcune di queste strutture di peccato che sono.
Here, we especially need to recognize some of these structures of sin tied to a mistaken concept of power, to a use of violence that becomes oppression, to an economy that neglects the weakest and most fragile. So welcome John the Baptist, who announces the possibility of salvation through the forgiveness of sins.
Benvenuto Giovanni Battista che ci annuncia la possibilità di salvezza attraverso la remissione dei peccati.
The Eucharistic celebration concluded with a procession to the cave of the birth of St. John the Baptist, the site of his veneration. The Te Deum and Benedictus were sung as praises rising to God, thanksgiving for the one who, with his whole life, made visible the centrality of Christ, his kingdom and his justice. Once again, the Franciscan community of Ein Karem, led by guardian Brother Dobromir Yashtal, offered warm hospitality. Near the end, Br Francesco Patton announced the appointment of the new Custos of the Holy Land, Br Francesco Yelpo. The community welcomed the announcement with joy and celebrated the arrival of the new Custos.